Good morning. Today we will be completing the rest of the part of chapter 2, whichever is left over. So, we have learned that our body, we were learning about the digestive system. Until now, we have finished that we chew our food in the mouth. Then, mouth, it has teeth, and the whole thing is known as the buccal cavity. So, what else we should do to protect our teeth from decay? So now let's proceed. What happens to food after it is chewed up in the mouth? Okay. The swallowed food means which we have chewed and swallowed food. It passes from the mouth to the stomach through the passage or pipe called food pipe or esophagus. Now see here. Here this is the mouth portion they are showing. Okay. This is the mouth portion. It has salivary glands which we have learned before. So it is all chewed up, mashed up, and then the food passes from here. This is the food pipe or the esophagus. Okay. So, and this esophagus, how is the food moves? It moves due to the action of the wall. This wall of the food pipe, this esophagus, it contracts and expands, and that is how the food is passed from upper portion to the stomach. Okay, this is the food is moving and is more reaching the stomach. At times what happens, the stomach does not accept the food which we have eaten, so we vomit out. Okay, now what happens in stomach? The stomach is the thick walled flattened bag present in the upper abdomen. Now here you see, now one more. This esophagus or the food pipe, it runs through the neck. You have the neck here, then the chest portion here, that the rib cage and heart, everything, and then it reaches the stomach. Okay. So after reaching the stomach we had told that is a thick walled bag. It is, it's like a bag, and it is wide. It is the widest organ. Okay. Widest part of the alimentary canal. That means that the digestive tract. Alimentary canal, you must remember, it is the digestive tract. So it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. And the food, it is received from the esophagus. The food that comes from the esophagus is collected here. So now what is the first let us see what is the structure of stomach. This stomach has an inner lining of wait, let me see here. See, the stomach, if they cut it, it's not exactly like this, but it has an inner lining which secretes mucus, which secretes hydrochloric acid and digestive juices, and these all help in performing the different functions of the stomach. So now what are the functions of the stomach? The mucus which is produced by the inner lining of the stomach, it protects the stomach, or the mucus which is produced by the stomach, it protects the inner lining of the stomach. The acid kills the hydrochloric acid which is secreted by the stomach, or which is present in the stomach. It kills the bacteria which enter along with the food and also makes the medium acidic, so that the digestive juices can act. So that the digestive juices can act, our inside the stomach, it should be acidic, and that is an acid present there. It also helps to kill the bacteria. Suppose when we are eating, there some bacteria can go inside with our food, so that acid kills the bacteria. The acid present in the stomach kills the bacteria, and it also helps in digesting of the food. How? The digestive juices, if the medium is acidic, then only the digestive juices can act on the food. Now the digestive juices, they help to break down proteins into simpler substance. So in stomach what happens? The protein which we has come by food, it is broken up into simpler substances. The partially digested food from stomach goes into small intestine. Now all the food which we have eaten is not digested in stomach. Part of it is digested, and from then it goes to small intestine. See, this is this coiled one, this yellow part is the small intestine. Okay. Now this small intestine is very large. It's about 7.5 meter long tube. Now digestion of all types of food is carried out and completed here. Means the maximum digestion of food is taken place where? In the small intestine. Okay. Absorption of digested food also takes place in small intestine. So we have read that the food is absorbed. What are the nutrients? Food is absorbed means the nutrients are absorbed. So the nutrients are also absorbed in the small intestine. The absorbed food is then passed into the blood system, through which the nutrients reach all the body. So what the absorbed food, they are passed into the blood system, and from there it goes to all the organs of the body. Now what happens in how is the digestion carried out in small intestine? With the help of the secretion from the liver and pancreas. Now you see, this is liver, this is pancreas. So the digestion in small intestine is carried on by the secretion, means they secrete some kind of juices, and with the help of those juices the digestion is carried out in the small intestine. Clear? The digested juices secreted by the small intestine, and hand in hand this small intestine also secretes some of the digestive juices. So the digestion in the small intestine, it is carried on by the juices secreted by the small intestine, the secretions from this liver and the pancreas. Okay, with the help of these three, the food digestion takes place in small intestine. Now let's come to liver. Liver is the largest gland in the body. It is reddish brown, located in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It secretes bile juice, which helps in digestion of fats. Bile juice is stored in a sac called gallbladder. Now let's see this figure. This figure is given also in your book, but I am showing it here. So liver, you can see, is the largest organ in the whole body. This is liver. This is the liver. It is reddish brown in color, and it is on the upper part of the abdomen. Means your abdomen is right here, right here. So it is on the upper part. Clear? On the right hand side. Means the picture is obviously the mirror image, so you are seeing it on the left hand side, but it is actually on the right hand side. So and this liver, this secretes bile juices, okay, with which helps in the digestion of fats. As in stomach, what type of digestion we had? We had the digestion of breaking down of the proteins. So the liver, the juices secreted by the liver, they help in the digestion of fats. And where is this bile juice stored? It is stored in a small sac called gallbladder. Okay, this is the gallbladder. See, I'll send you this picture. It will be more clear. This picture is more clear than what is given in the book. Okay. So now let's come to the pancreas. What is pancreas? What is the work of pancreas? All these. See here, they have given the picture of the liver and the pancreas and the glands associated with all those. So this is clearer. This gland is cream colored and is located just below the stomach. The pancreatic juice acts on protein, starch and fats and changes into simpler form. So the juice, pancreatic, what is pancreatic juice? The pancreatic juice is the juice created by this pancreas. So what it helps in? It helps in, or it acts on protein. The juices secreted by the pancreas, it acts on protein, on starch and on fats and changes into simpler form. Now, as a result, what happened? The digestion on the small intestine, all components of food broken down into simpler form. Okay, so I told you in large small intestine, the juices from liver, the juices from pancreas, and juices from the small intestine, they all act together and they break down of the complex food into the small simpler food. So you can see the maximum amount of digestion takes place in the small intestine. Now what are changed to what? Let's see here in this chart. Carbohydrates are broken down into simpler sugar such as glucose. Fats are converted into fatty acid and glycerol. Proteins are converted into amino acid. You have to learn this. Okay. Now absorption in small intestine. The inner wall of the small intestine has large number of finger-like outgrowths called villi. Now if I just make a diagram like this, and the inner lining, it will be like this. Okay. It will go on, continue. It will continue. So these finger-like projection, they are known as villi, and means plural is villi and the singular is vilus. So the villi increase the surface area of the absorption of the digested food. For the absorption, now you see, if I make a straight line, and if I make this folded line, this one, whose surface area will be more? Surface area means whose length will be more. Obviously you can understand the length of this will be more. So the more and more length, the more absorption will take place. It will be helping in absorption of the food easily. The villi have a network of very fine blood vessels. They are known as capillaries. Now this villi, I don't want to show you all those because it's not you will get more confused. This actually, suppose it is a single villi, it has very fine network of blood vessels, very fine, is thread like, it is our hair like. So those helps in the absorption of the food, that is in the means from the villi, and it is transported to the blood vessels to different organs. In body, the absorbed food is incorporated into the cell component, and this is called assimilation. So after absorption, you remember it is assimilation, means it has absorbed, but when it is absorbed and it is mixed up, that is known as assimilation. Okay. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters the large intestine. Means after the food has been absorbed by the small intestine and then it has passed on to different organs and it has been absorbed. So whatever, some food remains undigested. So this undigested food then comes to the large intestine. Okay, this large intestine. Now what is this? Large intestine is about length of 1.5 meters. See, the small intestine length was 7.5 and the length of large intestine is just 1.5. But it is wider than this. It is wider, means ज़्यादा चौड़ा है than this small intestine. Okay. No digestion occurs here. The main function of this large intestine is what? To absorb water from the undigested food, because the food, undigested food which is passed on to the large intestine, it has water. So the large intestine just absorbs the water from the undigested food material, and then rectum, the undigested waste from the large intestine passes into rectum and is stored here as semi-solid feces. Then anus, the fecal matter is passed through an opening called anus, and this process is called as egestion. Okay, so this was all about the human digestion, so that you should be knowing. This is means the main idea. Now you have heard the name of appendix. Okay. So what is appendix? A small structure present at the junction of small intestine and large intestine. Let me see if I can show you here. Here you see. This is appendix. Here where the small intestine joins the large intestine, and it is at this juncture this small organ is there. This is known as appendix. Clear? I think they have given in your book also, because they have told you, see figure 2.4. It plays no part in digestion, but can become infected and swollen, causing appendicitis. Appendicitis is a you cannot say. It's occurred due to the malfunction of this appendix. So now let's come to the nutrition in grass-eating animal. So food of the grass-eating animal, that is the herbivorous animal, consists of plant material, particularly grass. Now grass is rich in specific carbohydrate called cellulose. So what is the main constituent of grass? It is the cellulose or carbohydrate, which is known as cellulose. Okay. Human and many other animals cannot digest cellulose. The grass-eating animal have a unique method of digesting cellulose. Now, many of the animals and we humans cannot digest this cellulose, but this grass-eating animal, means this herbivorous animal, they can digest the cellulose, and they have a special method for it. Have you seen a cow ever eating? Means or not, when he is eating, when he or she is eating the grass. Suppose they are sitting in an area and they are just chewing up. They are continuously moving their mouth. So at that time they are not eating the grass, but then also they are chewing. So in fact, the grass-eating animal, they quickly swallow the fodder and store in a separate part of stomach called rumen. Here, see here, this part. So these animals, when they get the food or when they get the grass, you can say, they quickly graze up, means they quickly eat up, but they don't chew that food very nicely, or they don't, that time the digestion doesn't take place. This whole thing what they eat are stored up in this rumen. Okay. In rumen, food is partially digested. This partially digested food is called cud. Clear? Now the cud is then brought to the mouth in small lumps and chewed. Now when the cow is resting, or this herbivorous is resting, this cud, which is the partially digested food eaten by the cow, is again brought up to the cow's mouth. And at that time they are not grazing the field, they are eating, they are chewing that thing. Means they are chewing again the food which they had already taken in. Okay. So the process of chewing the cud is called rumination. Okay. And the animals, thus they are known as ruminants. Means which all animals, they carry out this process of eating or absorbing, taking in food, are known as ruminants. Why? Because they follow the process of rumination. Clear? Now during rumination, what happens? Cud mixes with saliva and becomes pulpy or semi-liquid paste. Means when the partially digested food comes to their mouth, they chew up, and when they are chewing up, obviously the saliva is getting mixed with saliva, and then the food is becoming pulpy or semi-liquid paste. And then this pulpy paste is again sent to the stomach area. Clear? Now, the stomach in ruminants is different from human stomach. In ruminants, stomach has 4 chambers: rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. Okay, here, see this picture they have given. This is the picture. So the first chamber of the ruminant is rumen. The first chamber is this rumen. It is the largest chamber, as you can see in the picture. It is the largest chamber, and then the rumen and the reticulum are closely associated. Where is the reticulum? This reticulum, you can see, is the same chamber. I think so is partially differentiated. So this rumen and reticulum, they are more or less associated with each other, and their contents, means whatever is here, they can mix freely. In these two chambers, the food is partially digested and converted into a small pulp called cud. Means here the cud, which we told that it goes into the rumen, then it is partially digested and it becomes cud. So it is in this area, this rumen and reticulum. Okay. The pulpy food is brought back to the mouth when the animal is resting. After chewing, what happens? The food from the mouth is pushed into the third chamber known as omasum. So after, see, this is the esophagus. The esophagus is the same. It is connected to mouth. So the food is brought in through esophagus to the omasum. This is the third chamber, and it is the smallest chamber. So in the smallest, from here the food enters the fourth chamber called abomasum. This is actually their true stomach. This abomasum is the true stomach. Okay. Now the digestive juices secreted here, they helps in the process of digestion as in human body. From the fourth chamber, now from here, this is the fourth chamber. So you can say this is the first, this is the second. Here cud is formed. It again goes back to mouth. Here you see there is an opening. Here it goes to mouth. Again from mouth it comes to this omasum. This is the omasum. This is the third chamber. From the third chamber it comes to the fourth chamber. This is abomasum, and from here it goes to the intestine. Clear? I think it is clear now. So from the fourth chamber it enters the small intestine and the nutrients reach here. Now why have ruminants developed the habit of chewing the cud? Now, it's not that all the animals have the habit of chewing this cud again, means second time. Means chewing the cud means chewing their food second time. This is basically a survival mechanism. Survival mechanism means, suppose if I say in a very simple language, now the COVID-19 or this coronavirus is everywhere, so your parents are saying not to go out, or they are also going out in a limited number of times. Why? To make themselves safe, to survive, so that we don't get infected, isn't it? So that is this is survival mechanism from a particular disease. But this survival mechanism is to so that they survive, so that they have food enough, so that they can survive. Okay. For their food, the carnivores are on lookout for herbivores, because this carnivores, they eat the herbivores. So the herbivores, they avoid being caught. They quickly eat their food and then reach to a safe place, and now they can chew and digest the food. Means suppose if I take an example of a deer in a jungle. If a deer comes out in the plain land, and he can be spotted by the tiger on the lion, and he can be eaten up. It can be eaten up. So what it will do, it will just eat up the. This is the end of it. So they will eat up as much as grass as they get quickly, and then run off to a very safe place where they can't be seen. They can hide themselves, and then now they can digest and chew the food leisurely. So due to this is the survival method. Means they want to survive from the different animals. They want to hide themselves. They want to not to get caught from the different animal. So this is the reason this ruminants, they have developed a habit of chewing the cud. So this is all for this chapter. This chapter is completed here. Thank you.